Back a little bit. Hello Facebook, how are you? And YouTube as well, very nice to have you with me. I am here live in my kitchen in my farm on the West Country on Bank Holiday Monday, so I hope everyone is having a very nice, calm, peaceful day. Lots of hearts coming through on Instagram, thank you very much. Hi Sue, hi Michelle, hi Elaine, hi Di. Great. Oh, Di saying, finally, I see you live. You're not at work. Excellent. You know, I know so many now kind of just tune in because people have gone back to work or they've been working right the way through anyway. And it's just been really lovely to hear all your messages about when you watch. Some people say, you know, I sit in the evening and it's my kind of switch off time. Or some people have said, I know I take you to bed with me, which is really fun. Or first thing in the morning, you know, the next day, sit in bed with a cup of tea and have a watch. So wherever you are watching and wherever you are in the world, let me know. Let me know. I'd love to know which part of the world you're in the UK or overseas, because it's just so great to connect and have these lovely communities. I know there's lots of chat always that goes on Instagram and likewise on Facebook. Now, on Facebook, we have a newbie in the house, so Lainey, who is a wonderful, talented photographer. She's my production assistant, usually when I'm off doing films, and she takes great photos. And so she is stepping in for the very first time, to man Facebook, because everybody else is on holiday, of course, because it's bank holiday. So I'm giving you a big wave, Lainey. Thank you very much. So Lainey is going to feed links on Facebook to some of the things that I talk about. Obviously, you guys on Instagram, you know to head to Linktree. If you're new on Instagram, that's where I put everything. We can't put direct links on Instagram. It doesn't work that way. So in my main bio, that's a little bit of blurb about me with a little round picture. You'll see a blue line at the bottom that says Linktree, and if you open that, click on that, you'll see this whole world expand of links, and it just gets longer and longer and longer because we keep adding more and more lovely things. Who went and checked out Alfresco? I talked about them on Friday. Oh my goodness, I love that brand. You know, I genuinely, these are brands, you know, they don't pay me to say this, by the way. You know, I've genuinely bought Alfresco cologne for years. And so when I looked at the company, thinking maybe it was something I'd like to introduce you guys to, because it's an anti-mozzie fragrance. Okay, so basically it stops you getting bitten. And I travel with this. As you know, I've got family in Italy, so I spend time over there. And the mozzies there, they are, you know, humongous and extremely hungry, and they spot me a mile away. I mean, 100 miles away. They probably see the plane land and go, ah, here she comes, great, fresh food. So I use this all the time, and it's a lovely fine fragrance, but it keeps the mosquitoes off. So whether you're, you know, up in Scotland plagued by midges, or I know many of you have actually commented to say that you've had real issues further afield, places like Greece and Cyprus, I do recommend it. It was tested by the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, so we know it's effective. So I use this one. This is the basic cologne spray, Acqua del Fresco. And then I also use this in the evenings, because obviously that's when the biting critters come out a bit more. You know, I put it around my ankles, for example, if you're sitting at the table. This is the anti-bug bite moisturiser, and we've got 20% off everything if you use Liz Loves in capital letters. So lots of nice comments about that. And what I loved about that brand when I discovered a bit more about the history, I knew I liked the product, but I obviously wanted to find a bit more about its provenance, is it's a female founder-led brand. It was started by a lady when she was volunteering at Chelsea Physic Garden, which is one of my favourite spaces, and she was getting bitten by mosquitoes in the garden, so she wanted to create something using natural herbs, working with kind of traditional apothecaries. And she's now, you know, in her later years and still running the business. And I just think, great, you know, that is just so empowering, isn't it? It just shows that, you know, we as women, as we move through midlife and beyond, we can still contribute. We can make amazing products. We can use all our knowledge and our expertise and our wisdom to create things that then help others. And so it's great to share. A couple of other things to share with you before I get going with today's recipes. A couple of questions coming in about my top. You may recognise that I've worn it before. It's an Aspiga favourite, another female founder-led brand. Aspiga, I think they're Aspiga London on Instagram. I know, Lainey, sweetheart, perhaps you can pop a link to Aspiga, because we also get a 10% discount there using Liz Loves. And it's, again, a great woman called Lucy, who I first met in Kenya. And she employs women's community and cooperatives in Kenya and also in India to do a lot of hand beading. So a lot of those beautiful belts and sandals and things like that are hand beaded by women's communities in Kenya, and then this I think is made by a women's group in India, and it's made from viscose, which is a sustainable fabric. It actually is biodegradable. It comes from wood pulp, and I love it. It's got a little bit, I don't know if you can see it, it's got bits of smocking on the shoulders, so it's really easy just to kind of pull on. There you go. So that is the fashion for today. So those of you who were watching me on Instagram last night, we had a barbecue last night, and I put some pictures up on my Instagram. And then one of the dishes that I made a little bit later on was a homemade chicken satay. And I just wanted to throw together a really easy satay sauce, because I love satay sauce, you know, that lovely creamy peanutty sauce. But so often when you buy it commercially, it's full of kind of other things that you don't necessarily want to eat. Packed with sugar, they can shove stuff in like MSG and loads of salt, which kind of give you a bit of a kind of a food hangover the next day. So I just used 3 really simple ingredients. I mentioned it on my stories, but I've already had a couple of comments about it saying, can you show us how you made that simple satay sauce? So really easy. The 2 key ingredients, I had to fish these out of my rubbish, are coconut milk. Okay, so a tin of coconut milk like this, and a pot of peanut butter. I used about half of this pot of peanut butter. I used the crunchy one, and I discovered this. I really like it. It's called Mani Life. Have you seen that one? Just got it from the supermarket, Mani Life. And it is basically just peanuts. That's all it is, with a little bit of sea salt. It says here it is 99.1% peanuts and 0.1% sea salt. So yeah, so there's no palm oil. To always check the label when you're buying peanut butter to see if you're getting it, you know, more than you bargain for, perhaps. And it says here, I always like to read a founder's story. I guess as a brand founder myself, I'm always interested to hear how other founders came to create brands. And it says, the deep roast crunchy was born out of a miraculous mistake in the Mani kitchen. We thought we'd burnt the nuts, and then we tasted it. There you go. You don't want to burn your nuts, do you? No. Don't get me started on that one. Anyway, this is deep roast crunchy. So I use this, which has got a really nice flavour, but I guess you could use any peanut butter. Mixed in, I just heated it very gently in a small saucepan, just stirred it in to melt the peanut butter, taking care not to burn it. No burning nuts going on there. And then I just added a splash of soy sauce, and this is the one that I use. It's a Clear Spring. I've used it since my macrobiotic days, about 30 or more years ago, and it's a tamari soy sauce, so it's a wheat-free soy sauce, because I had somebody who was gluten intolerant who was with me, so that's what I was using. So that I just used that just to kind of make it a little bit more savoury. So there you go, that was my quick and simple satay recipe. Now today I thought what I'd do, because it's bank holiday, it's time for treats, and this is one of my favourite treats, okay? These are some I prepared earlier, which I'm going to show you now because they might melt, because I've got a couple of lights on here in my kitchen. They are florentines, and they are wickedly delicious, but actually they're not, oh, they've stuck to the plate. They're not too bad, because they've got lots of healthy nuts and seeds in them. So that's my healthy Florentine, okay? I might just have to have a bite, just, you know, in the interest of research. Just to check it's okay, because I would hate to be talking about something that, you know, didn't kind of pass muster. Oh, that is good. So, this is a simple recipe. Fun for everyone to do. Kids can make them. It comes out of my yearbook 2. So if you've got yearbook 2, you will find it on page 39. It's actually in the Easter treat section. So I was doing kind of like, you know, homemade chocolatey things for Easter, but of course you can eat it. I mean, you can eat chocolate all year round, can't you? And the chocolate that I'm using is quite indulgent. I'm using a bit of Fire Tree, and oh my goodness, they actually just sent me these because they've started to do smaller size bars. Isn't that great? So this size, I think it's 25 grams, which is great. So it looks like that. So it's a kind of like a half size block. So again, you get 10% off using Liz Love's Fire Tree. If you haven't tried their chocolate, very sustainable. They work with small cooperatives in specialised places around the world, and they do chocolate tastings online, and you can buy their kind of taster pack and buy tickets to join their chocolate tasters talking you through it. Really fun thing to do. I mean, I do genuinely like them, and all comes packed in card and paper, so there's no plastics involved in that either. So I'm going to be using that, but you could use any chocolate, to be honest. But let's get going with the base first of all. So I'm going to melt on here. I'll get my little oven, sorry, my little hob rather, to work. I'm going to melt in here butter, sugar and flour. And again, if you're gluten intolerant, then you can use gluten-free flour. That's not a problem. So I'm going to use, 25 grams of butter. This is probably slightly out of vision, I'm afraid, for those on Instagram. Those on Facebook, you get the wider view now, and on YouTube. So I would, love to hear actually how you are finding me. Those of you who've checked YouTube, because I've got lots more videos up on YouTube. So if you're not a regular YouTube subscriber, you might want to subscribe. Liz Earle Wellbeing is my YouTube channel. So if you subscribe to that, then you'll get a little notification every time we pop a new video on. You won't have to keep checking back. So I'm going to melt in 25 grams of butter with about 75 grams of caster sugar, but you could pretty much use any sugar. You know, you don't have to be too prescriptive on that. So I'm going to mix that into a little sugary paste, and then I'm going to just slightly thicken that with a little bit of flour. And this is only 10 grams, so this is only, you know, a couple of spoonfuls of flour in there, but it just gives it a little bit more substance. But as I say, you can use any kind of flour, so if you wanted to use rice flour or gluten-free flour or spelt flour or whatever you fancied. So I'm going to melt that in. That is melting down quite nicely. Excuse my hair, by the way, I didn't have time to do it properly. I just kind of whizzed into the shower early. I did some yoga this morning. Anybody else done their exercise? I had my younger daughter, Brella, here, and I don't know, I was just feeling really kind of stiff and just feeling like stretching out. So we did Down Dog. That's one of my favourite apps. Really like Down Dog. I just find them really well put together. We only did 20-30 minutes or so, but you can, what I like about that app is you can choose which bits of your body you want to focus on. So I put shoulders and neck because I've been feeling quite a lot of tension up here. So it meant that we were doing lots of what was this called? This was called Falling Angel or something, this one, and it just, oh god, it's so good, you know, because we spend so much time, don't we, hunched over like this, that just to do the counterbalance to that every now and then is really, really good. Who has looked at corefulness? I chatted last Wednesday, I think it was, with my great physio, Libby Caudle, who's created this amazing website called Corefulness. And you can go on and you can get lots of free downloads and programs that you can follow. Just on the 4 key major muscles that hold our core together. And she's great. She was doing it, whoops, mustn't let this burn. She was doing it partly in primary schools. That's how she started. But we had a really good chat about how to avoid things like tech neck. And if you're working from home, how to prop your laptop up so that your screen is at eye level, so that you're not doing this all the time. I'm so guilty of that. I don't know if you are. But I just kind of forget. I get absorbed in something and just go down the rabbit hole of research. And before I know it, it's really drawn me in and down. And we need to remember to sit back, position our hands on our desks, put our laptop screen or a monitor, ideally, straight ahead so that our eyes are kind of looking at it like that. And then, of course, just remember to do all of this, you know, these other movements. Anyway, I have now melted this. I hope you can see. So that is just really simple little kind of paste. And then I'm going to pour in a little bit of milk. Now, if you've got my book, the yearbook 2, and you're following the recipe from here, it says semi-skimmed milk. I'm not quite sure why we said semi-skimmed milk, to be honest, because I don't ever seem to really have semi-skimmed milk. And of course you're using chocolate and all sorts of things, so I think ignore that. Just use whatever kind of milk you would like. So I've got in here, I think it's 65 mils, so it's just enough really to turn it into a bit of a paste. So I'm going to mix that in together. So if you can see that in there, I think Facebook and YouTube you might be able to see just on the edge of my hob. Just melt that in, just to make sure that the sugar just gets melted really. Because then you're going to add the nuts and the seeds and the other things that turn it into a slightly healthier indulgent treat. I'm not going to pretend that it's massively healthy, but it is. It's got good stuff in it. So if you're going to snack on something, frankly, You know, don't eat junk chocolate, just, you know, save and have less of the better stuff. So it costs the same, but you're having less of it and your body will thank you for it. So I'm going to turn that off now so it doesn't burn. So let me just check the quantities here. So basically, florentines are these very, very thin, flat, nutty, biscuity things held together with dark chocolate. And they are so delicious. One of my favourite things. And the great thing about making them yourself is you can do little tiny ones if you wanted to do like kind of little after dinner petit four type things, or you could do huge ones, or just kind of normal size. Anyway, so I've cooked that through, so if you can see, that's just a kind of a, it's like a sweet roux with the flour in there that's just thickening it up. Oops, splashed myself on the chin. Anyway, luckily it did not burn. Right, so into this I'm going to add almonds, cranberries and pumpkin seeds, because that's what it says in my recipe book. But you don't have to use that. You can use anything you like. Use whatever's in the cupboard. Okay, so the almonds, so it's 100 grams of almonds, 100 grams of cranberries and 50 grams of pumpkin seeds. So you've got 250 grams in total of nuts and seeds, whatever you like. So I love flaked almonds, one of my favourite things. If you followed my breakfast recipe where I use the yoghurt with flaked almonds, with grated apple, a bit of lemon zest, love that. It's genuinely one of my favourite things. So I find flaked almonds are very good for florentines because they are flat, so they will spread nicely. So you do really need your flaked almonds. So that's 100 grams of those. Then I've got 100 grams of dried cranberries and 50 grams of pumpkin seeds. Again, pumpkin seeds are good, incredibly nutritious, and again nice and flat, so they'll kind of spread nicely. But you could use sunflower seeds, you could throw in some goji berries, you could throw in some sesame seeds, you know, whatever. And then dried cranberries, again, it doesn't have to be dried cranberries. These are what dried cranberries look like. They are lovely dark red in colour, and they're quite tangy, you know, so you could use dried cherries, that would give you a similar tang. Really nice. Really nice. Or you could just use raisins, you know, be fine. Raisins, carrots, sultanas. So I've got 150 grams going in there. So 250 grams in total of flaked almonds and my nuts and seeds. And you can see in there, it's just making a really simple, nutty paste. And then you're going to turn this into little individual florentines, into little individual patties. So I'm going to use a baking sheet. Let me just move my book out of the way. By the way, I don't know if you've clocked that if you get the newsletter, because I think we only put it in the newsletter, it's not written on the website anywhere, so it's kind of a newsletter subscriber special, but I'll share it with you guys anyway. Just for bank holiday, there is a special deal on the books where you save £10. So I sign them all, they're all signed, and you can choose 2 of your choice. So you could have 2 yearbooks if you want to get the discount. Keep one for yourself, give one to a friend, or keep it for Christmas, maybe early. Is it too early to mention Christmas? Early Christmas shopping. Oh, who's that? Hello. I am actually live. Do you want to come and say hi? No, he doesn't. Men, they never learn, do they? What is it? 12:30. Every day. Well, not every day now, but it was every day. But it's always Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Every Monday for the last, ooh, how long? 5 months? There you go. No sense of time. So, yes, so my book. So you can either have 2 yearbook 2s if you want, and you get the saving. And I am signing them here. Or you can mix and match. So it's a really nice offer. You can get Good Gut Guide with your yearbook 2 if you wanted. Or you could have my menopause book, which seems to have disappeared. I thought I had my menopause book around. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, the Good Menopause Guide. I would say a quick word of warning, there are not many Good Gut Guides left. I think there's like 5. So if you really want that one, you're going to have to be quick to get that. But I've got lots of the Good Menopause Guide if you want that as a combo with yearbook 2. So that's not a problem, or if you want a couple of your yearbook 2s. But it is only until midnight tonight. If you're watching today, I'm sorry if you're watching it much later in the week on catch up. But it is a bank holiday special, so it's midnight until the 31st of August, which is today. Anyway, so this is what you'll need. You'll need a baking sheet, and I just line it with a bit of baking parchment, but you could use, you know, one of those silicone trays, or you could just grease it well if you wanted to, but I just find that it's easier with the parchment, doesn't stick quite as much. And then I'm going to use, I think actually I'm going to have to need a couple of dessert spoons. Here we go. And then make these into little flat Florentine shapes. So you just put a little pile onto your parchment, flatten them down. Is that a bit too big? Maybe it is. Being overly generous here. It's probably because I'm a little bit hungry. Isn't it a mistake when you cook when you're hungry? It's like never go food shopping when you're hungry. So you just come back with all this stuff in your trolley and you go, why on earth did I buy that? And it's a massive great bill. So always eat before going food shopping or cooking. But it's not always possible, is it? Right, so I'll just do a few of these just so that you get the general idea. And they are, honestly, they are so good. My lot, I know, will devour them. They're probably lurking outside in the hall, like wandering wild animals. Like when we're in Kenya in the evenings, you get the hyenas that come out and lurk around, and you can hear them, and they call to each other. I don't know if you've ever heard a hyena, but they do this sort of whoop noise. They go whoop, whoop, like this, and they call to each other to kind of say, you know, this is where all the dogs pricked her ears up when I was doing that. It's all right, honey, it's not a real hyena. You know, to say, you know, we found some food, or we're scavenging, or whatever, and they call to each other from quite far apart. So you get these hyenas, and you can hear them in the distance at sunset whooping. And then Lily's actually really good at this. She's got the hyena whoop off to an absolute T, and she'll start to whoop, and they'll go, oh, it's another hyena, great. And they start calling to each other, and she'll be having these hyena conversations, and we know that they're out there kind of prowling around, waiting to pick up snacks. So that's kind of like my lot at the moment, prowling around, waiting to pick up some Florentine snacks. So that's basically what you're going to have. And you need to bake these. How long do you bake them for? Let me have a little look in here. We bake them in the oven, so it's not particularly boiling hot. It's about 190 degrees, okay, 375 Fahrenheit, and that's about gas mark 5. And so I'm going to pop them in the oven literally for 10 minutes. So don't let me forget, otherwise they're going to burn. So I might have to put my timer on. 10 minutes. Can I set my timer here? Yeah, there we go. Right, so those will just cook away. So you want them so they're just lightly brown on the top. So they'll hold together because the mixture will keep them together. So you will end up with something. Let me get a knife to take this off. A little bit like this. Okay. It's quite tricky because they start to melt quite quickly when they're out of the fridge if your kitchen's really warm, which, whoops, mine is here. So that's what you're going to end up with. You're going to end up with a cooked piece like this. And as you can see, I have dipped mine in chocolate. Now you can, if you want, you can get a pastry brush and you can paste them with chocolate so that they sit on a base of chocolate, or you can dip them whatever you want. So melt your chocolate. When you melt chocolate, obviously you need to have a double boiler. So this is just my dish of chocolate, a bowl of chocolate over some hot water here, so that doesn't burn. So I've just melted this one already, and then I'm going to add a little bit more, and I am going to be quite indulgent, okay? I don't often do really yummy sweet treats like this, so my view is if you're going to do it rarely, let's do it really well. So this is the Fire Tree chocolate, and this I've got one here which is 72% cocoa, so really deliciously dark, and one which is 75%. This one comes from the Solomon Islands, from Makira Island, and it says it has grapefruit and raisin tones, really nice. And this one is from Malekula Island. There you go, single estate, rich volcanic chocolate. And I think what they say is that because the Solomon Islands, they have this incredibly dense volcanic soil, the things that grow there, like the cocoa pods, just develop this extraordinary rich flavour. And I have to say, it is absolutely delicious. It really is something else. Lovely. I'm so pleased they're doing these smaller sizes, because you know it's like once you've opened a pack of chocolate, that's it, it's gone. But at least these are, you know, quite manageable little treats. So break that into there. I'm just going to melt that down over the hot water. And then once the florentines have baked, and obviously you need them to cool, then you can just dip them in. So I might have time to show you that. We'll see. We'll see how we go. So there you go. That's florentines. Now, in other really exciting news, who has received their copy of the brand new edition, Liz Earle Wellbeing magazine? Who has got theirs? I got mine. Yes, I'm so excited. So this is what it looks like. So we shot this picture here, just outside my kitchen window, actually, on the farm. And it says, get your autumn glow. Yeah, so that's what it's all about. Now, I'm not going to show you everything in here, because the last time I did that, I got into trouble. Yes, I did, from a lady who wrote and said, you've completely spoiled it for me, Liz. I like to sit and I like to explore every page. So I'll give you a brief overview without revealing too much. So basically, these are the contents pages. So the different sections, if you haven't seen my magazine before, we have some regulars that we do every issue. So that's all about things like wellbeing news, we've got a book club, there's a competition, there's a Liz Loves, of course, which is kind of where my whole Liz Loves started. Some new things in there that I haven't shown you yet on IGTV or Instagram or Facebook, but I'll get around to that later. We always have a charity section. I really like shining a spotlight onto an important charity that's doing great work. I think very often we don't read so much about charities in the media, and there's so many that do great things. And then I write a section at the end, which many of you have picked up on, called In Truth, which is there, it's a positive one this time. Then we have quite a lot of health and beauty. Okay, so health and beauty is kind of one of our core pillars, if you like, and we've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 health and beauty features. Amazing. So it's a really good read. Everything from salon secrets. If you listen to my podcast with Alice Hart Davis, who's an amazing journalist, and her big thing is tweakments. So where you don't go for like a full facelift, you just have a little tweak. And that's become her specialisation, and she's amazing, and she's actually her own guinea pig. She tries out all these extraordinary things. Anyway, she has written for us in this particular issue, and I will share this one with you so that you know what it's about, because it's all about hair loss and hair loss treatments that really work, because there's a lot of snake oil out there, and you can spend an awful lot of money trying to get your hair growing back. And it doesn't work. So she takes a really close look, and I do trust her. I've known her as a journalist, 30 years maybe. She's similar age to me, and I think she was working on the Evening Standard as a features writer, so she's got a solid journalistic background, and I've kind of watched her progress over the years, do different things, and she's really made this kind of investigative beauty journalism her forte, and she's brilliant, and I'm so delighted. Alice, I don't know if you're watching, but welcome to the Liz Earle Wellbeing family, and we're so thrilled to have you as a contributor. Then we also, actually on the same subject about hair, we're looking at grey, how to go grey. So many of us have actually given up our hair dyeing during lockdown. Not me, I've been home doing it and now I'm back in the salon, but lots of us are embracing the grey, and there's a really, really good feature. There's a lovely picture, actually. I might just share this one with you if I can find it, of some gorgeous grey-haired ladies. And I know there's lots of chat that always goes on about how to go grey, how to do it. Look at that. She's so full of life. It's great. And very stylish, very stylish grey-haired beauties. And then, I'm not going to share that one with you too much, but this is an interview with my friend Marcia Kilgore, all about how to build a brand. So we're also doing a little bit more entrepreneurial business stuff, and she is the first in our new series on female founders, where we go behind the scenes and we really ask them what makes them tick and their methods for success. And she's brutally honest, Marcia. I've also recorded a podcast with Marcia in the past. She is great, very well worth listening to. and she talks very honestly about some of the highs and the lows and what it takes. So, and actually it just reminded me, reading the bottom of this here, of course she founded Beauty Pie, and we do have an offer that is ongoing with Beauty Pie where you get a free month's membership. It's a membership subscription. I love it. I've talked about it a lot. I'll probably do a whole episode maybe on Beauty Pie at some point, because everything, once you're a member of Beauty Pie, you buy everything at cost price. And I know lots of you have really enjoyed that and are experimenting, because everything is so inexpensive and yet the quality is so good. So you just need to join and you pay your monthly subscription, maybe kind of £10 a month. And if you use Liz Loves as your code, then you get your first month free. So it's a really good thing to do. Anyway, so that talks all about that. Then we've got food and drink. Obviously, food and drink is a big part of the magazine. And we've got 7 main features on everything from, there's an Indian feast, doing lots of homemade Indian things. I've got a whole section on Ottolenghi. I've got a podcast with him coming up, Yotam Ottolenghi. Lots of nut-based recipes and bakes. There's hearty lunches, nutritional filling lunches. There's the food edit. We always do something that's seasonal, so we look at seasonal fruit and veg and what to cook. Then we've got a whole section on home and away. So this is more stuff for the home. Really excellent feature from Sarah Raven, who is my garden contributor. So thrilled to have all these great writers. Sarah Raven, who we just love, and she is so clever. You know, she trained as a hospital doctor before moving into plants and gardening, so she's got that lovely scientific brain when it comes to creating nutritious food. It's all about growing things that are delicious and nutritious, as well as all her beautiful flowers, particularly her dahlias. My garden is full of Sarah Raven dahlias at the moment. And then a travel edit, and one of the travel things, because obviously we're not travelling so much at the moment, so we've looked at bike rides, we've looked at where to go in the UK, we've looked at staycations, and then we have actually looked at something that you might like to think about in the future, and this is walking the Camino de Santiago. I don't know if anybody has done that. I know 3 people who've done it, and it has been actually life-changing. And I recorded a podcast with Viv Worrell, who's a great personal trainer who I've seen sometimes down here on the farm. And it's one of my earlier podcasts, but she talks about it. She walked the Camino after her mother died, and she talks about it very movingly. And then my trainer in London, Michael Gary, he did it last year. He didn't do the whole thing, because I think it can take a month to do to do the whole walk. He did it, I think he went for a week. So let me just grab these out of the oven. I got an oven glove. Yeah, talk amongst yourselves just for a moment, and I'll see if I can pull these out. Where are we? Oh, perfect. That's good. That's a bit lucky, isn't it? Seeing as it's live. Good that they're perfect. Too hot to handle though. But can you see how they've gone all deliciously brown and crispy around the edges? Yum! So now I've just got to wait for those to cool. I mean, a wire rack would be good, wouldn't it? Because then the air would circulate underneath it. But I'll just leave those for a moment. But that's the general idea, and then you can brush them. I've got my melted chocolate here. This is actually just melted down beautifully. I've got a few little hyenas outside, I think, will be circulating, wanting to scrape out the bowl. They're simple pleasures, isn't it? Those childhood treats. Lovely. I might keep the spoon for myself, though. So that is it. So literally, once those florentines have cooled down and they're cool enough to handle, you would just pick them up. And if you wanted to do it the easy way, you just dip them into the chocolate. I might put an extra coating on there like that. And then just set them to one side to cool. Put them in the fridge to harden. And there you go. Or just brush the base if you want. I think that's what I've done here actually in the book. You'll see pictures of them just to show you. That's in the book. So they've just had their undersides there, the bases. So it looks like lovely healthy nuts and seeds on the top, and then when you flip them over you've got that dark chocolate base. Oh, so delicious. It's a bank holiday, come on, cut me some slack. This is also a really good one in the book. This is chocolate gingers. Are you a fan of ginger? Where are we? There's the picture. There you can see at the top, chocolate gingers. I do like ginger, and of course ginger has lots of antibacterial activity, so it's a really good thing to have. It's also very good for travel sickness. I used to carry cubes of ginger, even just crystallized ginger, in the car and give it to my kids on long journeys, because it really does physically stop you feeling sick. It's very good for morning sickness as well. Any kind of nausea, ginger is very good. You can drink ginger tea, or you can eat ginger treats. So this one, oh, I wonder why I was feeling so hot. Still got the hob on. This is, you just take crystallized ginger with stem ginger and dark chocolate, and you melt the chocolate just like I've done there, and then you coat the stem ginger and the crystallized ginger in the dark chocolate and set them to one side, and then you can sprinkle them with cocoa nibs. So you know those sugar-free, well, they don't have any added sugar. In fact, I think cocoa nibs are maybe 100% no sugars from memory, depending on which brand you get. But you're basically just coating little bits of crystallized ginger in your dark chocolate. And of course, if you get really good quality chocolate, they're just going to taste divine. And you could put them in little bags or little jars, give them as presents, you know, thinking about Christmas. Who else loves Christmas? Honestly, if you're not a Christmas fan, then you might have to look away for the next few months, because literally kids go back to school. And I mean, actually, maybe not September. I do confess September's maybe a little bit early, but you know, once we step into October, countdown is beginning. Because I just love it. I love that whole idea of family and friends and sharing stuff, making things to pass on to others, any excuse to, you know, go and have a glass of mulled wine with somebody, and putting up decorations, the spiced pine cones, and getting the advent calendar going, and all of that. Anyway. Speaking of which, I have had a few questions already about the annual Live Twice, which is my charity, Christmas Carol concert. And of course, it's going to be highly unlikely that we're going to be able to do it for real. So I've been talking to my brother, who is the great musician. He's an organist at Canterbury Cathedral, and he's a great musical impresario. I know many of you have joined on those evenings, and it's always been a lot of fun. So I'm going to talk to the vicar at the church where we normally have the carols, and I'm going to see whether we can go in and maybe do it on Zoom or do some sort of virtual thing. So if you think that's a good idea, let me know, because obviously it would open it up to a lot more people, which would be really nice, and we could all kind of join, and I could maybe gather together the actual musicians and some of the celebrity readers and things, but then people could join perhaps online as an event. So anyway, we're just thinking about that. We did have the date booked in. It's always the first Wednesday in December. So we have got that date. So we know that the church is available then for us, but obviously I've no idea, you know, whether we'll even be able to do it as a small gathering, but watch this space. But if you think that might work for you, let me know. So there we go. So what else was I going to tell you? Well, let me just finish off very quickly with the magazine. So Camino, walking the Camino, if any of you have done that, I'd love to hear. And if you'd like to listen, I don't know whether, Lainey, you can go through the archives of the podcasts. Basically, I think if you go into the podcast app, or certainly go onto lizearlewellbeing.com and put in Camino, which is Camino, Camino, that's what it's called. People call it doing the Camino or walking the Camino, and it's Camino de Santiago, and I might have a picture of it here. I really would love to do it myself. You have to be prepared to totally switch yourself off. I'm not sure if I could go off grid even for a week, but it is one of those things that does change people's lives. You listen to the stories, and it's started as a pilgrimage, but it's, you know, you can be any religion or none, and it's just this extraordinary, you get this extraordinary kind of life-affirming focus. And yeah, there's some pictures of it in here and what to expect. And then Michael Gary, who did it, he actually wrote a little bit here about his experience and how he found it and how profound it was, which I think amazed him, actually. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of recipes. So the recipes, what do we have in here? We do have a recipe index in each issue, so it's easy to find. And we have got, how many recipes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 different recipes. So it's like a whole recipe book in itself, really. But lots of lovely things, Oh, that sounds nice. Soft hazelnut biscuits, almond and orange Toscaka cake. Yum. I'm trying that. Anyway, so if you haven't yet subscribed, word of warning, and you like this one in print, you're going to have to be very quick because we didn't print that many. Okay, we printed just for the subscribers because we're not in retail now. There are a very few still out there because we overprinted just a little because we anticipated that people might yet have not got round to subscribing. So we do have a few, and there are a few Neil's Yard vouchers left, actually, the £10 vouchers, so it's really good. So if you want to subscribe or give a gift subscription, then now's a really good time to do it, but you are going to have to be quick because once this printed issue has gone, that's it. You're not going to find it for the next 2 months. Normally it would be on sale in the stores. Now we're not doing that, so just as a word of warning. If you do miss it completely or you want one of the back issues, just to say, you can get these free. So for example, this was the last issue. So this is a really lovely one too. This is July and August. Be calm, happy and healthy. That was the theme for this one. And then this one was the one before that. That was May, June. And you can see I've got my post-it notes in there for things I still look at. This theme is Summer Health at Home, Raise Resilience. And if you want to get these on Readly, follow the link. Lainey, I think you can pop a link, can't you, on Facebook for me? And I know there's a link on Linktree on Instagram. Basically, Readly is a digital platform that gives you access not just to my magazine, but to tens of thousands of magazines. And if you subscribe, I think it's $7.99 a month, you get access to everything. So not just Liz Earle Wellbeing, but Good Housekeeping or Hello or whatever you want to read. And also all the international editions, so you can get the American magazines, Australian magazines. It's really good. And my boys use it actually for their sports magazines. They look at, I don't know what it is, Cricket Monthly or something, and Rugby World and all of that, Football Heaven, I don't know. Anyway, so they do all of that, and if you click using the link, which I know Lainey's popped on Facebook and we've got on Instagram, then you get your month free. You get a free month, okay, and you don't have to continue it, so it's basically free. You sign up, and then if after your free month you don't want to do it, then you just leave it. But it does mean that it gives you access to back issues. So if you didn't get these and you'd like to see the recipes or read some of the features, then you can do that for free. So I know I often mention it, but I mention it because I think it's really useful. And I know that we've got a lot of good content, and we do try and write about all the things that kind of middle-aged women are interested in. So hopefully there are good features to go back and enjoy, especially when you've got time. Bank holiday weekends, anybody off for the rest of the week? I'm not. I'm going up to London. I'll be in my studios on Wednesday, so I'll be back with another Instagram Live and Facebook Live and YouTube on Wednesday, and also back live on Friday. I hope to be back with the Friday 5. I apologise for not doing my podcast this Friday. It all got a bit too much, I have to say, with all that filming for this morning. It was a bit crazy. I do feel, I woke up on Saturday morning thinking I'd been kind of run over by a steamroller, but put myself back together, lots of healthy treats and some rest, and raring to go for the week ahead. So I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. Do leave me comments. I don't do direct message on Instagram, but I do comments. Very, very end of the day. I mustn't forget to remind you about this. Oh my goodness, because this is another massive warning. Lots and lots of you have been jumping on Liz Earle Jewellery to grab the ivy earrings at 40% off, 40. These are my fair trade gold. I'm wearing the rose gold ones. I've also got a yellow gold pair, which I love. But the offer ends tonight, okay? Ends tonight. So I'm really sorry if you're not watching this in real time and you've missed it. We have a few last pairs remaining, and they are at 40%. So you just need to do Ivy 40. So it's Ivy, all in capitals, 40, and that will knock 40% off your checkout price. Lainey, I think, will probably pop a link. I think she's done it already. You're so quick, Lainey. Well done. Well done. For a newbie, you're doing really well. And then we've got the link on Instagram, obviously, on Linktree. And actually, just this week, so I think possibly only until midnight tonight as well, my team realised that we do have, of course, the matching ivy necklace, which I'm wearing. So they thought, just as an extra special, we'd knock 25% off this one as well. So you don't need a code for that. Just head to Liz Earle Jewellery and you'll see it's open for everybody. and this one is on its longest setting, so I'm wearing it quite low because I've got quite a deep neck with this Aspiga top, but it's got 4 little different settings, so it comes up and you can wear it much higher if you want to, depending on your neckline, so it's adjustable. And they all have my hallmark, they all have the Liz Earle Fair and Fine hallmark on them. Anyway, I hope you love them. That's it for today. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for all your hearts. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Look forward to chatting again on Wednesday. Take care. Bye bye. Don't think I can reach it to turn it off. Can I just?